I'm very much an advocate for recognising that the black contribution is beyond black history. And so I'm very much active in a group called Decolonising the Curriculum for Educators, where we're trying to focus on widening the visibility of the black contribution across all subjects. So it's not just contained in history. So every subject, whether it's citizenship, whether it's computing, whether it's maths, whether it's design, technology, food, or whether it's music, that every single subject needs to make a commitment to recognising black visibility. And so it's not just kind of reducing the black contribution to slavery. Slavery was such a small part in the history of the African communities and the interactions between African and Asian and Arabic communities and Britain and Europe. And so when schools focus just on the trauma that is slavery, or the trauma aspect of the civil rights movement as opposed to what it contributed to our society, they are actually doing a disservice. And I will happily call out schools on that and the education service on that, because it's doing a disservice not just to the black students who are seeing that their only contribution of their ancestors was traumatic and ended often in death, but also it's doing a disservice to the white students as well, who are then not seeing the whole picture and the whole contribution, and then that carries on into future life and interactions with different communities. So it's absolutely imperative that all schools don't just focus on Black History Month as their only time to have an assembly where they talk about Black history and they talk about often American contributions. We have to recognise that the British Empire at one point covered the majority of the world, and in their spaces there were people who were inventing, who were creating, who were contributing to our society as it looks today, creating words and inventing things that we still use today, and influencing people like Shakespeare, influencing our writers. And so we need to make sure that we are doing a service to our communities, to the whole community, to make sure that the contribution expands beyond October, that it isn't American-centric, that it is based in the so-called golden age of the British Empire. Actually, let's recognise the contributions and let's talk honestly about what the empire meant, not just to the British working class here in Britain, but also the legacy and the impact it has had on countries around the world. Let's talk about the impact of immigration and why my family are here today, why my family were taught British history in the Caribbean. We need to recognise that so we can have that often difficult conversation about what British Empire and colonialisation meant.